Okay, our next speaker is Carol McQuack.
Hello, thank you for asking me to speak. I'm speaking here as an NKT survivor. I was in the NKT for 12 years practicing Shungden. I was ordained for 7 and I left in 2006. So I will just speak, this my personal views as a survivor. So I will speak about what I think Shungden practice is in the New Kadampa tradition, in the NKT. I believe that the NKT is a closed system that needs to silence those who could interfere with its claimed authority. I will argue that the NKT uses Shungden to do this. Shungden practice in the NKT doesn't look like and isn't used in the same way as Shungden protector practice in traditional Tibetan Buddhism. Shungden is used by the NKT as a psychological technique to silence and control the most committed insiders using meditation, and secondly, to silence critical outsiders, for example, using Shungden to demonstrate against the so-called human rights abuses of the Dalai Lama. These demonstrations also, importantly, have kept insiders from asking awkward questions about issues back home in the NKT, such as the sexual misconduct of senior teachers in the past. The NKT fiercely protects its own renown or reputation in the West. NKT students have reluctance and even fear of speaking out about possible abuses within the NKT for fear of the consequences, such as criminal arrest, being sued for libel, or social exclusion. There are enough documented cases of the NKT making legal threats against speaking to understand this is valid fear. But Shungden isn't often mentioned in complaints by NKT survivors. They usually complain about issues of control leading to a lack of kindness. But Shungden practice is the essential practice of the NKT. Praises, offerings and requests to Shungden are made every day in every NKT centre all over the world. To be an NKT centre, you have to do these prayers. And every qualified, pure NKT Dharma teacher is supposed to practice the NKT Shungden meditations before giving any teachings. As Shungden practice is the essence of the NKT and critics of the NKT need to be silenced, then if the Dalai Lama criticises Shungden, we have to conclude that the Dalai Lama must be silenced too. But the Dalai Lama isn't criticising the NKT, he's only criticising Shungden practice. The murmur of the bad reputation of the NKT isn't coming from the Dalai Lama. That's mostly coming from ex-NKT members like myself, who believe what we practiced in the NKT caused us harm, and once we've seen how Dharma is taught elsewhere. And there are no restrictions on Shungden practice in the UK, so to justify silencing the Dalai Lama, you have to believe he must be harming Tibetans, and you need to find evidence, and try and create a campaign where most people say there is no reason for a campaign as there is very little evidence of human rights abuses. And any campaign will always pale in comparison to the problem of the Chinese invasion. So why this seemingly irrational loyalty to Shungden? I'll discuss how I feel that Shungden uses our own hope, attachment and fear to keep us tied and tongue-tied in the NKT. For a beginner, the NKT offers meditation with gardens and tea. Nothing to interfere with your normal life. The NKT also brands a fast path to enlightenment, a modern Buddhism that is nothing like that boring Tibetan stuff. To have the confidence to get enlightened, you need merit. So you live in and pay rent at a centre and help to run it and work for the Guru by promoting this pure Dharma which is Sankapa. Teaching gives you merit for a faster path. If you have merit to be authorised to teach, that's when you get hooked, as I did, by my new hope for quick results into the trio of NKT study, being a teacher and Shungden meditations. You accumulate merit even faster if you ordain, but you're told if you disrobe, you won't get enlightened. The NKT needs teachers. It has to produce them very quickly as teachers leave and new centres are opening. Kelsang Gyatso is the reclusive Tibetan monk who created the NKT system. You may only teach using Kelsang Gyatso's books. You study so that you memorise Kelsang Gyatso's books. Heart Jewel is the basic Shungden practice that Kelsang Gyatso created. It's the NKT's Shungden practice. That's where you're told to talk to the Guru. If you have any questions your NKT teachers can't ask, you can't ask Kelsang Gyatso in person. And if you have any other problems, you're told to do more Heart Jewel. Shungden will help you with it all. It's the most confusing meditation practice I have ever done. Looking at the basic Sanana of Heart Jewel, the first half is Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. The second part of Heart Jewels is offerings and requests made to Shungden, an outer practice of Shungden that's very similar to the Gelug Palden Lama Protector Tea offering. In this second part, you request knowledge, protection, compassion and power from Guru as Shungden. and meditate on downloading the confidence and power to teach or for success in your activities. Shungden is almost everything. Sutra, Tantra, Vajradhara, Buddha Shakyamuni, Manjushri, Jason Karpa, and above all, Kelsang Gyatso appears as Shungden, and you take this Shungden with you when you come out of meditation. I quote 3 benefits of doing this meditation from Kelsang Gyatso's commentary to Heart Jewel. By putting your trust in Shungden, your practice will naturally become pure, you will have a powerful ally, and you will always make the right decisions. Naturally become pure is what I felt holding the Guru, the Shungden Guru, in my heart. Having a powerful ally is what I felt when I taught. I could teach the perfect Dharma. You always make the right decisions. After teaching, I often felt as if I was protected from making any mistakes, but only if I stayed on the NKT path. Purity, power, and infallibility. In time, this practice led me to feel, and other teachers around me, that not only was the Guru infallible and could make no mistakes, but that I myself was also, without any fault in any decision I made, completely pure and powerful too, and not only during teachings, every day, with everything I did. With my Guru's blessings, I can accomplish anything. This feeling is blissful to gorge yourself with and addictive. You aren't ordinary anymore. You're extraordinary and special on this unmistaken path. So you have to protect this absent Guru, which is this power you now possess. You have to protect his good renown and his pure lineage. So you go to the demos and join in the defamation campaign, as I did from a distance. Because without Shungden, you think there will be no lineage in the teachings. I started to act as if I would do almost anything to protect my access to that feeling of power and control. What else could it be but the power of the lineage? But isn't this twisting of the concept of the purity of the Dharma into our own purity, power, and unmistaken actions as NKT teachers exactly the Shungden of distorted aspiration that causes His Holiness the Dalai Lama's concern, and the real unvoiced harm the NKT system creates? As a perfect NKT teacher, you feel no sense of personal responsibility for the harm your actions could create. While in the NKT, I increasingly saw this system as a hope I was holding up, and feeling that doctrine of purity, infallibility, and power in my teachers led to my conflicts with them. Good teachers I have met since show you what to look for in your own mind, as they know it in their own minds already. It's not about control. Is the NKT trying to blame His Holiness the Dalai Lama for its own problems in maintaining authority? But surely by trying to silence His Holiness, NKT students are also silencing their own inner critics or intuition, their own capacity to see what might have gone wrong. That's why we as survivors feel so confused when we leave the NKT. As long as Shungden practice feels so good, and Kelsang Gyatso is conceptually confused with Shungden, then NKT followers will remain deeply attached to the Shungden Guru, fearful of stopping the practice without breaking Samaya and going to hell, and fiercely protective of what appears to them to be perfect as it makes them feel perfect. You can't see this while you're in it, but I see the Shungden, NKT and Kelsang Gyatso system as only seeking to maintain itself, not a lineage. I think I can seriously state that in the NKT you become not a practitioner, but a Shungden follower. You may start out wanting to be a better person, wanting to make the world a better place, but you have very little idea of what you are missing out on and the price you will pay for your loyalty if you walk in that door wanting Dharma. That is the sadness. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Okay, I have a few different things to say. The first, I have a question for the NKT people here. The present Karmapa engaged in many prayers for the death of the regent who brought in the other Karmapa. Recently he died, and there was a lot of dispute about what happened when he died, because he wanted to have burial in Nepal. But the present Karmapa still made all the burial prayers for this person who brought in the other Karmapa, right? So my question is, will the NKT also do burial prayers, whatever ritual they use, for His Holiness the Dalai Lama when he dies. Because in the Tibetan tradition, even with your other people, you do it. So that's just a question, okay? My next, you can answer it.
No. We don't
Later.
want anyone speaking from now.
No, but later.
Yeah.
No, you have another slot. The other is that Kelsang Gyatso had to be non-traditional because he was expelled from Serajay Monastery unanimously in 1996. So he has had to create his own systems because he can't do the orthodox. He doesn't have 5 fully ordained monks to have a traditional ordination. He has to create his own. So the system has developed step by step from there to become something quite different. The last thing is that, two more things very quickly. One is that we've created a Facebook group. Now, Facebook is fascinating because you can get contact with communities that are very different from say, in real life. So we're collecting information from Tibetans, from people on the ground in the monasteries. The other side have many websites already. The websites, the group we have on Facebook is called Talk About Shungden, and we're making lots of documents. We're having original documents from their website so you can read them. We're having all different information that we're collecting together. So from the Tibetan communities, we will please send in your side of the story as well, because that story isn't heard very much by us at all. And we've got people who can translate things. Sometimes it's a bit slow, but we do have translations. So please talk about Shungden on Facebook. The other one is... oh yes, on that Facebook group, we're answering the videos. One by one, we're going through the NKT ISC videos and having a conversation about them. So things like what Shitashi was saying now is the continuity of that. The last thing is a bit of fun, really. I was quite astonished when I went outside the NKT and started looking around at protector practices. And something that was really astonishing for me was how different the Shungden practice in the NKT was from protective practice elsewhere. And there was a lovely quote that one top teacher, a Tibetan teacher, said, that Shungden, Dokyo is, this friend I had who was a practitioner, he used to order Shungden around like a servant. And the idea, instead of being that kind of, it's quite difficult to explain hot jewel in the NKT, but you are Shungden, Shungden goes through you and you manifest when you're teaching. But this thing of ordering Shungden around, I found rather a really kind of exciting idea. Then the oracle practice, that was amazing. It used to exist in the NKT. I saw it myself in 1995 in Brighton, because Kelsang Gyatso's uncle was the Shungden oracle. But it was kind of kept a bit secret, and then when all these difficulties happened, he decided to stay in India with his students. So that separation, that's also created more problems and separation from Kelsang Gyatso, because he's had to make his own world, if you like. He's had to. And then the last one, in the Nyingma, I was talking to people about how they use protector practice, the Deva, Guru Deva Dakini. And the Deva is very interesting because on retreat, you bring up your own negativities so that you can look at them and work with them and transform them. And that's part of your retreat. Now that's also really different from how we did Shungden in NKT. That didn't exist there, and I found that idea absolutely, for a start, the idea of going on retreat, a 3-year retreat, because that also has only existed once in the NKT and it doesn't exist anymore. I would really rejoice if the NKT created a very strong retreat, proper retreats, and liaised and connected again with the Tibetan communities. That would be a vision for the future. Thank you very much.